Welcome to Wellness Rebranded.
We know there is so much conflicting health and fitness advice out there.
And you're tired of the wellness fads, endless diets, and impossible standards that make you feel like nothing you do is ever enough.
You are ready to tune into your mind and body and feel empowered around health.
We're the healing trio here to help you redesign your relationships with food, fitness, and yourself.
I'm Elizabeth, registered dietitian and certified intuitive eating counselor.
I'm Maria, licensed mental health therapist.
And I'm Tara, personal trainer.
Together, we're changing the narrative on health away from diet culture, hustle culture, and toxic positivity and towards healthful self-care.
So grab your water bottle, get ready to laugh, learn, and grow.
And let's start rebranding your wellness journey. So we have exciting news for you today, which is that the Wellness Rebranded podcast, we are celebrating our 1 year anniversary this month.
Yay!
It's been an incredible journey, ladies, hasn't it?
It has
been awesome. Fun times and big lessons have been had by all. Hopefully, well, us anyway. Hopefully our listeners also. So we have many fun surprises planned for you guys in the month of November, but one of them is if you are local to the Annapolis, greater Washington, D.C. area, we would love to invite you to a Wellness Rebranded podcast party.
Yes, please join us on November 1st at 6:30 p.m. in Annapolis for an evening of connection, stories, mingling, music, appetizers.
Maybe Maria will Zumba dance for us.
Yes, she will.
You never know.
So we will put the link to register. It is free in the show notes, but we would love, love, love for you to join us. And if you have been enjoying the show, if you have a favorite episode, please send us a message. Tell us what it is. We might feature you on an upcoming pod during our anniversary celebrations.
Welcome back to another episode of Wellness Rebranded. I'm Tara, and I'm here with Maria and Elizabeth, and today we are talking about ways to recognize that you might need to reach out for help with a mental health professional.
Yes.
Maria.
Because I get that question a lot.
I assume you do.
How do I know that the symptoms that I'm presenting or whatever is happening, how do I know that it's time to reach out for help, right? And I'm a believer that you can reach out to a mental health professional even for prevention and maintenance of you having a great life. But I have a recipe. Well, I don't have it. I learned it actually from my students' textbook since I teach in college. The things you learn when you teach in college that you should have learned when you got your master's degree, but no. And there is 4 points that you can use as guidance to know if it's a good time to reach out for help. Okay, ladies? And it's the 4 Ds.
I'm ready.
So they all start with a D for easy remembering.
I so want to guess.
Yes. The first one is deviance. If the symptoms that you're having or presenting, or the thoughts that you're having, or the feelings that you're having, or the way you're acting is statistically rare, meaning that people around you, around your same age, in your similar social environments are not presenting, that might be a sign. For example, for a kid, the kid in the classroom that is throwing a chair every time the teacher says, we're not having recess because it's raining or whatever, it's too cold. And most of the kids are responding in a different way. It is statistically rare, right? It's something that most people are not doing to respond to a similar situation, right? Mm-hmm. Something that, for example, hallucinations is statistically rare or is not. So it's a good way to know. However, this could not only be the only D, because there are statistically rare things like people who are really high in their IQ. Mm-hmm. That's statistically rare, but it's not a problem. Right? But if you experience something similar with a group of people and your symptoms seem to be marking the difference compared to other people, that could be a sign. So that's the first D, not enough, but a good guidance. Mm-hmm. Second D, very important one, is distress. Are the symptoms that you're having or the thoughts that you're having or the feelings that you're having or the way you're acting causing you psychological pain, okay? If they're causing suffering, if they're creating great distress, torment in the person experiencing it, it's a good time to reach out for help.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to suffer or feel in distress, right? So if whatever is happening is making you feel that we were talking about quality of life in a previous episode, is making you feel that you're not feeling fulfilled, that you're feeling that you're suffering, is a good time to reach out. No reason for you to sit in that suffering alone. Deal or no deal?
Deal.
However, one parenthesis here, there's some psychological disorders that don't experience distress. Like, for example, there are some disorders out there that one of the symptoms is for the person to not feel remorse or empathy for others. So many times when they do things that are not socially acceptable and they're not considered normal in our society, they don't have any feelings causing distress, right? It might happen that maybe somebody addicted to drugs or different substances might not experience distress and is still
In distress.
it's still a behavior that might bring consequences. So again, not necessarily the only D, but part of this package of 4 that is good to have in mind. The third D is possibly, I would say, the most important, or not the most important, but very important, is dysfunction. Are the symptoms that you're presenting or the thoughts or the feelings being an obstacle for your day-to-day living? Meaning that they are affecting your day-to-day functioning or impairing important areas of your life. It could be work, it could be your relationships, it could be any kind of feeling like a disability. So if you are missing work because of the way you're feeling, or being late to work because of the way you're feeling, that's causing dysfunction. That's affecting your day-to-day life. If because of the way that you're feeling, you're withdrawing from your relationships and your friends are saying like, hey, Maria, I haven't seen you in a while. And it's because you feel like you don't want to hang out with your usual people anymore, or you feel like, I don't feel like seeing anybody. I don't feel like doing any of the things that I used to do before. Like I used to learn or take classes, but now I cannot concentrate. Those symptoms are affecting your functioning.
Yeah, I was gonna sort of try to highlight that point too before you jumped in and said that, which is like, it could be dysfunction related to how you normally function, right? Not even that necessarily someone else would immediately recognize that it's dysfunction. You sort of have to know your baseline.
Right. And what did your functioning look like before? Right. So
that feels like a good time to mention that we did an episode on getting to know yourself.
Yeah.
A few episodes ago. So if you're not sure what your baseline is, maybe go check out that episode.
Great point.
yeah, and sometimes your symptoms might be causing distress and not dysfunction. Sometimes it might be causing dysfunction but not distress. But these are things to keep in mind, because then there is a change that maybe is not a desirable change or something that you were looking for, but it is happening because you're not doing well, because you're struggling, because you're having emotions that are new and are affecting your life.
Yeah.
And then the fourth D is very important, because this one is a non-negotiable D, meaning that if your symptoms or your thoughts or your feelings bring this fourth D, you are in need of immediate help. You guys want to try to guess what that D is?
I saw it on the
I
paper.
did too.
So.
Cheaters. Cheaters.
Cheater,
I have a little
pumpkin
paper in
eater.
front of me and they cheat.
We did. It's because I was so engrossed that I was skipping ahead,
I was intrigued.
if I'm being honest.
Fourth D is danger. If the symptoms that you're presenting or how you're feeling or what you're doing is posing a risk to yourself or to others, is posing risk of harm or to your safety, then it's a time to get help. So
Yes.
if the way I'm feeling is taking me to having suicidal ideations or homicidal ideations, that is dangerous. Not only risky, dangerous, because there's a difference between at risk, something might happen. Dangerous is that you have a situation there that presents danger, right? So we want to keep everyone safe, and you want to keep yourself safe as much as you can. So if that is happening, thoughts that my life is not worth it, and we just did a recent episode on suicide, which is great. If you haven't listened to it, please go back and have a listen. But if the behavior, jumping in front of traffic, what else could be dangerous? Eating things that you're, eating, I don't know, plants or things that you're not supposed to eat that can be dangerous to your body, like poison, or using drugs to a point that you black out every time you use them. That's dangerous, right? The line between that and an overdose might be very, very thin.
Yeah.
So it is a good time to reach out for help. Another thing when it comes to distress that I forgot to say, sometimes you might not be having the distress, but the people around you are showing concern, right? It's like, hey, Maria, I've noticed you've been drinking more than usual, and you get very aggressive when you drink, and it's affecting the family, it's affecting me. We might not be in distress because we're enjoying the alcohol, but for the people around us is causing suffering. That's another sign that it might be a good time to reach out for help.
So can we talk about these 4Ds? Seem like when you're, crisis might be a strong word for what may or may not be a crisis,
Well,
right?
a situation that a lot of things already gradually happened for you to get here.
Yes. But what about avoiding getting
Like we go to the
far down the
dentist
road.
twice a year.
Yes.
What can we be doing for our mental health?
So, I think the key to prevent getting here is building a solid emotional foundation, meaning like emotional intelligence, self-love. So reading books is a good way to prevent. Learning about yourself through getting information, because we know about, teeth health because maybe you've read and the doctor have, but you brush your teeth every day. Okay. Recognizing your emotional needs is like brushing your teeth. Like, what are my needs? How do I express them? How to ask for others to help me meet my needs, or me, myself, meeting my needs. Setting healthy boundaries. All those little steps, not little, they're big steps, into your emotional well-being are good. The same way you exercise to keep your health, or the same way that maybe you brush your teeth to keep the health, or the same way you use lotion in your face to prevent wrinkles, the same way there are things that you can do that you can learn about yourself. So get information from books, from different professionals. You can even go to therapy for that. Some colleagues might disagree with me because some believe that their job is to provide treatment when there's something happening and something that the client wants to share. I think, and of course there's the barriers of cost and insurance that, you have to diagnose most of the time to be able to charge insurance for the session. But talking to a mental health professional about how do I get to know myself and where are my weak points that I can work on to work on this solid foundation and become stronger emotionally and mentally, it is a good way to
That's
prevent.
such a problem with our insurance system
Super
in
big
general.
problem.
Like there should be preventative
Right.
There's
mental
not.
health visits that people are qualified for. Preventative sessions with personal trainers or fitness, and preventative for nutrition, or
And
it's
honestly,
like, why are we waiting for people to be
right in crisis before we say
It's not
okay.
proactive. It's not
it's
preventative. It's
reactive.
reactive. Yes. However, that's one of the many reasons why that's what I do. Is to
same.
provide
Yes.
workshops and trainings
Yes.
to equip people with tools to prevent getting to this. And not only for you yourself, but how to help people around you. Once you have the tools, how to be able to talk about your emotions. Talking about your emotions is a way to prevent getting here.
I think this is like a symptom of like society at large too, and I know we talk about this a lot, but when you were saying like, dude, get in touch with your emotions and what do you need and what kind of self-care, like many people have no time at all for that. They're working, they're parenting, they're doing all the things that they need to do to keep their life afloat. So then like the emotional stuff becomes such a backseat issue. And it's like, oh, well, life is expensive, so I have to work 2 jobs, or I have to do...
And it can be because one that's affected, nobody's working, not even half a job.
Right.
But going for walks in nature, oh, but it's just going for a walk. No, there's a lot that's happening for your
benefits.
Yes, it's the breathing fresh air can bring calmness, raising your endorphins. I mean, there's so many things that are helpful. And practicing gratitude. Oh, Maria, that's so silly. Somebody might think it is a way to prevent because it's about mindset and about your perspective in your life. Surrounding yourself with supportive people. Well, I have some jerky friends. Don't have the jerky friends. It is a way. It is a way to prevent.
Cut them off.
Because I mean,
Let those jerks go.
jerkiness is contagious. So if you hang out with people that are constantly talking about their miseries, that does not help your emotional well-being. Let's be very clear, okay?
Well, and it brings up such a point that I feel like is a thread throughout our whole podcast, which is, yes, Tara, you're absolutely right that everyone has different circumstances and time and financial considerations and like on and on and on. But hopefully there's simple ways that you can integrate it that don't take much time or
like the gratitude.
The sleep.
I remember like praying when I first started my job, like, please let me get busy. I don't want to fail at this job. Like, what if people don't buy training from me because I don't look like a trainer, whatever that means. You know, like I was really super worried about it. And maybe like a year ago, I was like, holy smokes, I'm so busy. I just can't even breathe. And like a pity party. And I was like, just with clarity reminded, like, you prayed for this at one point. So maybe let's stop and be grateful for a sec that you made it. You achieved your goals. And let's reset going forward.
Yeah.
What does this need to look like for me now?
And at moments like that, practicing giving yourself like credit for everything you've done. Yeah. That's another way to prevent. Right? Yeah. We've talked about self-talk in this podcast many times, but preventing talking to yourself nicely and say, you see what I'm capable of? Not only that, how hopeful is that I can pray for stuff and they do happen because I put my best effort and things happen. So I was saying sleep is a very healthy way and productive way to prevent getting to these situations as well. We all know that bad sleep does not help with your emotional well-being and so on. And lastly, I want to say, one of you were asking, just to finish up here, one of you were asking about what happens when people know these 4Ds and they know something is going on, but we still don't reach out for help. And that's very common. Many times we do know that there's something that is going on that could be changed, but we don't reach out for help. And there's many reasons why this happen. It could be lack of awareness, which hopefully after this episode is not the case, because you, with these 4Ds, can bring awareness that what is happening is not what you want. But also the fear and the shame to be discriminated and labeled. You know, if you reach out for help, you should be able to do this on your own. You're weak if you reach out for help. For some people, is the minimizing of the symptoms super common. Well, it's not that bad. Like, I don't sleep well. I only sleep well like one night in 2-week period. It's not that bad. Yes, it is.
Yeah.
You should be sleeping well most of the time, not just like this sudden
When it goes
event.
back to something that I feel like we talk a lot, which is you can be your own priority, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, I think
Yes.
it's so common to just think, whatever, I don't have time for that. Or
the thought that I don't have time for anything else. I'm too busy with work, like you guys were saying. But it's okay. That's most of my coworkers do that. No, just because, like we were saying in a previous episode, just because it's common doesn't make it right. Right? We cannot normalize things that shouldn't be normalized. And if
I
you're
think
working
COVID really messed us up with that because all of us started working from home.
Yes.
Right? And there was nothing else going on, right? Because we were at home. So it got common to be like, oh, let me just do some work at like 9 p.m. Whereas normally we would never be
boundaries
okay with
got
that.
very, very blurry.
And now it's hard to unblur them.
Yes, we have to unblur them because that's a way to prevent getting to a point like this. And of course, things like access and the cost to it and the availability of mental health professionals is tricky now after COVID. So all things play a role. But the goal for this episode, you nice listeners, is bring awareness to what's going on. Don't minimize it. It's okay to reach out for help, even if your mind is saying there's nothing I can do to fix this. Yes, there are things we can do. Thank you for listening. We'll see you next time.
Such an important topic. Thank you.
We love having you here. See you next time. Thank you for listening. If you want to connect with me outside of this podcast, you can find me on Instagram at coaching_therapist.
I'm Elizabeth. You can find me at Elizabeth Harris Nutrition or in my Facebook group, Health and Healing with Intuitive Eating.
And I'm on Instagram and Facebook at Tara De Leon Fitness. Guys, if you loved this episode or any of our other episodes, we would love it if you would leave us a review on Apple Podcast. It really, really helps us get the non-diet word out to the rest of the world. So please leave us a review.
Yes, thank you.